in. I just hadn't bought the ignition coil and put it in. But really a misfire code doesn't, it would have had an ignition coil error if that ignition coil is actually bad. I ended up just changing out all the ignition coils at that time. And then I've changed out all the spark plugs as well. And I have actually put in some old, like, new aftermarket fuel injectors on this. And I've got my OBD2 reader sitting at 2.8 steady. Just kind of after looking at looking at the error codes originally and what it was doing, and then looking at all my live data on the car before I did all those parts, changing out the injectors, and I even changed out an O2 sensor because it seemed to be getting a fault. One of them specifically ended up getting a faulty reading. Anyway, I changed all that out and got back in the car, and then it was like running even worse than it was to begin with. So what I'm gonna do is get brand new gas, pump the old stuff out, probably clean the old injectors, just so if I decide to put them back in, I can, and basically see what it's doing at that point. But the reason I'm thinking it might be electrical is partly because my mechanic buddy said that after I was telling him that there's more to this story, I'm not done. He's saying it sounds like it might be something electrical, which does make sense because it's throwing up some weird stuff. Because now it's throwing up a sensor or a code saying camshaft position A is like it can't sense the location of the camshaft at position A. And I haven't done anything to that, and that's the first time that code ever popped up. You know, after I did all the stuff. Oh, and by the way, in the middle of all this, after I changed out these parts, these two heater core or heater hoses that go for your front and rear heat, there's a little Y connector or T connector there at the very back, and one of those broke, and of course the other one was basically ready to break as soon as you look at it wrong. But so I changed out that, and then I went and changed out one of the hoses on it because it had never been changed out before. So I couldn't even check it initially, but you can see all these wires, none of them have the protective flex tubing on it because it was dry rotted, it just fell away. So that's part of the reason too why I'm thinking it might be something electrical, and it was maybe a fluke. As I was changing out some of these other parts, you know, these wires kept getting jostled slightly a little bit, and